Live from Denver's Cherry Creek neighborhood, you are watching the Kyle Malnati Show on YouTube. I'm your host, Kyle Malnati, and we are broadcasting from Stewart Title. And we would love to say thank you to Laurel Rossi for allowing us to tape the show today. My esteemed guests are Tom Flegas and his daughter, Maria Flegas. Tom and his brother just sold an apartment building with our team this week that they had owned for almost 40 years. They bought in 1976. Tom and Maria, welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. So here we go. Tom, how did you get from Greece, where you were born, to America? When did that happen? What were the circumstances around coming to America?
I come with a plane, but 1950. 1951, January 16, I was in New York.
Mm-hmm.
From New York, I moved to Denver. From Denver, I moved to Craig, Colorado.
Craig, Colorado. So for those that are watching the show, Craig is up in the mountains.
Yeah, up in the mountains.
Very cold in January.
Very cold, yeah, very cold. It was a small town, you know. The Craig, there was not a small town at that time, you know. There was not a exist.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, because even the United States, it was not after World War II, you know, it was not bright up, you know. So I stayed there, you know, and I worked for my uncle, you know, which is here a farm. He has sheep, cows, and I work for $3 a day, all the time, you know, to survive and to help my family back in Greece too.
Yeah.
Not only myself.
So your uncle helped you get here. You had mentioned before you moved out here that you had some family help you with the money in your pocket. And how much did you come to America with as far as how much money?
No, the money I have, $6.
$6.
That's it. That's nothing else.
So that was equivalent of 2 days' wages. If you're making $3 a day, that's not much.
Well, I was not, you know, but anyway, I didn't pay anything till I went to Craig, you know, because my relatives, you know, the Sklavanides, you know, used to live in a hotel.
Mm-hmm.
He picked me at the airport and he bring me here and he sent me to Craig, but he didn't charge me anything, you know. Whatever he charged, my uncle pays, you know. So I didn't pay anything, you know.
So you had some nice help getting here.
No, they had, you know, same thing I have after I moved from Craig back to Denver for the same guy.
Mm-hmm. So, fast forward a couple of years, you moved down from Craig and you moved to Denver.
Yes.
And which neighborhood did you choose to live in Denver?
No, I live down there, in the Glenarm Street.
Okay, you lived on Glenarm?
Yeah.
And why did you choose that neighborhood?
Well, because, you know, I went to my relative, the Sklavanides hotel.
Mm-hmm.
It was the Greek hotel.
So you moved naturally where
because a lot of
were.
Greeks that was living there, you know. I lived there, and they talk each other, and I think I need help, and I think like that. Sklavanides always help me. You put your check in the bank, do this thing, gonna eat, you go here, you go there. I didn't know anything about the city.
So they gave you all the rules for how things worked, and they helped you out, and they helped get you launched here in Denver.
Yeah.
And Maria, you talked about this, that owning an apartment building for your family was not only part of a business proposition, but it was also a way to help people that were moving here to America. And it was very much the fabric of that American dream for both your family as well as the families living in the apartment building.
Sure, most of them was from Salvador.
Yeah.
All of them, you know, it's just like family, nice people like me. I know exactly what they're doing. They work in the restaurant. I know they try to help the families. I know they help the kids, and they send the money and everything, you know. Yeah, that's what I see. We live like a family. All those people like a family. Anytime I go there, nobody gets mad, everybody happy, and then they tell me the story. We don't have no money, and next week we get paid Friday, we pay Tuesday, you know. And always, you know, they tell me exactly, and I didn't have no problem whatsoever. No.
I definitely felt that way. I felt like, you know, we had landed pretty much in that neighborhood, and the first years of my life were in that neighborhood. I feel like the heart of that particular business was a way of paying it forward. There was a way where they received help when they first moved here, and they helped other immigrant families get settled here, pay their rent late if they needed to, get connected to the environment, to jobs, to community here. So it was their way of continually sort of helping immigrant families land and paying it forward what was given to them.
Yeah, absolutely. And it really established your family's legacy within that neighborhood as well.
Did.
There were so many wonderful things that happened to you, and instead of just saying, hey, thanks, now we're going on our own way, you did your part to continue that tradition and that heritage.
Oh yeah, a lot of Greek guys here. They used to come and dorm in the hotel because I was there. Later on,
Yeah.
talk to me for things. And I help them. They help. Always. You try to help each other because all the people come from different places. Nobody speaks the language. Nobody do nothing. Nobody have experience. Nobody have any. Because Greece 10 years dead, nothing.
Yes, there was lots of support and community networking among the Greeks in that neighborhood, especially. And you'll see even on Colfax Street, you have Pete's Satire, Pete's
Sure.
Kitchen.
Yeah, Pete Cantos.
Yeah, he's a godfather in our family, and so
Oh,
you'll
wow.
find that a lot of the Greeks have either blood relation or chosen relation, which is kumbario, means chosen family, or the way they baptize each other's children and become God family.
That is so cool. I didn't know that until just now. We had never really talked about that.
Yeah.
So, going back a few years before the apartment building was purchased, you had mentioned you'd moved down here from Craig, you're living in Denver, and you started working as a busboy, right?
Yeah.
In the restaurants. And then you started, someone took a liking to you as you were working in restaurants and helped give you some education in how to serve people.
Well, the 1960, I was working in Hilton. I worked wait tables, breakfast.
Yes.
He told me, says, you serve the breakfast, and then after you finish, 1 hour, 1 hour and a half, that's all. And then they give us good tip.
Mm-hmm.
He says, as many as you people you serve, you get $1 each.
Yes, $1.
No wages, anything, $1 each.
Sure.
Okay, you serve 40 people, you make $40.
Okay.
And then you go to school. All the time, I do that all the time. It was very nice. It was very early. You have to do it, about 5 o'clock in the morning, 5:30, 6 o'clock. Do it first because everybody had a meeting and the Hilton Hotel and they explored, because before the Hilton Hotel, it was stock market there and everything, But later on, I don't know what happened, and it fell and then sold it.
So then you buy the apartment building. You had mentioned to me that you were able to put down a very large down payment because you had saved a lot of money, and
We save all the time the money. All the time we save the money. We don't spend no money.
yeah, it's a pretty simple equation in life. But if you live on less than you make, all of a sudden you have this pile of money sitting here. So in 1976, with your brother, you bought this apartment building, and you had bought it. I think you said for around $117,000. And then you had a loan for about, was it $70,000 or
$70,000, yeah. The bank, they give it to me. I told them, this is the I gave you. I give him cash as checks. If you don't sell it, the price you ask, I'm not gonna pay. What are you gonna pay? I pay you 115, maybe a little more and things like that, something like that. But not more, not less. The check he had it, but no sign. So, and then in a couple of months, something like that, he called me up, he says, hey, what's going on? He says, how are you doing it? You know something? I can't sell the building, If you decided, you don't change your mind and everything, come and talk to me. I went down there and I talked to me, I says, this is the deal, we make the deal, here you are. And then, even they loaned the money.
So they gave you the loan. It was a bank-owned property. Someone had gotten foreclosed on, right?
Well, it was, the bank, it was, I don't know what his name, that bank, they had.
Oh, that's okay.
Because there was not very much, because the building, the build, $67,000 cost.
That's what it cost to build it?
The building.
Yeah.
1960, Sklavonitis, for his son.
Yeah.
And after that, it went a little up, because the prices gone up and everything, but, it was hard time, he was not businessman, just come from the army, he didn't know anything about it, he took it, blew up everything, so.
So you bought it, you got the loan, and then you were telling me, as we were prepping for the show, that it took you about 7 years with some very specific effort to pay off that loan. How did you do that? How did you pay off the mortgage?
Well, it was me and my brother was working anyway in a restaurant and things like that.
Yes.
And my wife, she was working.
Yes.
And everybody, we don't have no money to draw anything. So anything we make from the building, even sometimes, put more, whatever they make. So the building, it was making money.
Yes.
Because anything, painting, cleaning, fixing, and everything, we don't hire people, we do it, me and my brother. And so this way, we have the money safe. And then we save, we put it where my account is separate. The account was separate. Cheesman Street,
Yep.
from the beginning, stays there. So anytime, end of the year, you make whatever you have, so you move the money and put them in the principal.
Yeah.
And keep going every year, and then it was set up. So by the time, because by the time they started school,
Yeah.
I was ready to have money in the side, to pay the dues, because they graduate, they went all over the school,
So
Definitely true that it was very clear that the apartment building was a way, the income from the apartment building was a way of putting us through college. Both my brother and I ended up getting master's degrees. So
that's amazing.
Oh,
And
yeah.
we talked to several of our clients that when we asked them why they bought their apartment building, and you think past that question why, and you really think of purpose. What was the purpose for that? And there's some very simple answers. It gives you financial freedom. It gives you the ability to retire. It gives you the ability to pay for your kids' college. And there's just so many wonderful things when you invest in real estate.
Yeah, you invest it because, this way you have expenses, interest, in
Yeah.
everything, you take everything out of the income tax, you come up, broke even, stuff like that, you don't have, instead if you don't have anything, you make $50,000 and the government look how much you take.
Yeah.
But if you come up with expenses and things like that, you pay in the interest here, but you get it from here. If you match up everything, there comes better picture, because what you do, you return your money later on.
Yeah.
It's not a car, you buy a car and you lose your money.
Yeah, so
Forget the car.
the benefit with real estate is that you get to write off your
Yeah.
expenses, and
Yeah.
you get to write off your interest, and you get to have, in some cases, even though you've made profit that year, you
Yeah.
may show a loss. And
Yeah.
so there's so many different accounting benefits to the business, but what I like to really cut into is the very simple idea that you make a certain amount of money, you spend less than you make, and you take that extra and you pay it off on the principal. And you said every Christmas, you would say, we've got a little extra money, we're paying it down on the loan, and it went from 70 to 65
Yeah.
to 60, all the way down. And in just about 7 years, you paid it all.
Yeah, I had 25 years to pay.
Yeah.
But you see, the only thing I make, by the time, I told myself, I want to make it, write it down, I have to pay from the original.
Mm-hmm.
$14,000 anytime I feel like to pay. Because if you don't write it down, the bank says, no, you have to pay the payment, and I said, I don't want no more, I don't want less.
Right.
So this way, I had it open.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have no problem. Bam, bam, bam.
Yep. So you just paid it off, you
Yeah.
saved that money, and then you paid off
Yeah.
very systematically, very intentionally. And that was, I think, one of the amazing parts of your success is you were very intentional about how you did things.
Yeah, because always you make money, but always you make money and then you keep a little bit in the side, but always you have the money, you have to pay,
Mhm.
you have to explore it, you have to do everything, you have to know what coming here, the kids and things like that. You gotta be ready.
Yep.
Because if you don't get ready, well, they're not gonna go nowhere.
You need to have that emergency fund because you never know when things might happen. And
No.
Maria, you had mentioned that this building has really been a legacy for your family, but your father's legacy here, I've just got to ask, what was it like growing up around an entrepreneur like your dad, someone that had immigrated and worked very hard to get to where he was, and what were those dinner table conversations like, and how much did he involve you in what he was doing or his process with why he owned the apartment building?
Well, I think there's something very special, I just want to say about the immigrant community in general that you'll find is that they're very family oriented and everything is for their family.
Mm-hmm.
So what we saw was not people who cared a lot about their own personal expenses and lifestyle, but people who were working very hard to see their children become that dream that perhaps they didn't get to have. So he was working very hard. That was very clear. We were seeing that. And he was pretty transparent about the expenses and wanting to save. He always let us know that that he needed to save money in order to make sure that we had something for the future. So it was not an extravagant household, but it was a very, very future thinking ahead.
The only thing I didn't have no problem with my kids,
Frugal.
They liked the school. They didn't, a lot of people they
We did well
problems.
in school.
And I didn't have no
That's
problems, no smoking, no drugs, no things like that. Anything.
You're good kids, yeah.
There was
Always
a very
stay
big
the right track.
emphasis. Yeah.
You know, this way, you know, you give you opportunity to move ahead.
Mhm.
If you start.
There was a very big emphasis on us getting an education because our parents didn't have an opportunity, and that generation in general didn't have an opportunity for education. That was truncated by war, and it was also truncated by immigration.
Yeah.
So there was a huge emphasis on education, and so it was very clear that no matter what happened, whatever kind of extravagance we may have wanted, that money was going to be put aside for that day.
So I share a quote in most of our shows, and I feel like this quote really touches on that immigrant story as well as just what you lived through. And the quote says, "We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them." And so with that, I think of, you grew up in a time where there were wars. You grew up in a time where Greece was battered by the potential for communism. You decided to choose to come to America with some help. And you created what a lot of people really, I think, have lost in some ways in our culture of what that American dream is. It still is alive and well, but I think it's very important to touch on that you embody, your family embodies the American dream. And it's hard work, it's grit, it's determination, it's looking forward, looking to a better future. And I think that it is just a pleasure that I've had the ability to do business.
Yeah, because I remember I was in a school. There was 280 kids.
Yes.
In the school. 3 kids competed. Me and another 2 kids. It was top kids.
Yeah.
And then I had in my dream, I said, why I don't have the opportunity to go to school? That's what I said to my daughter to go to school, my son. I was dreaming. I said, I have to go to school. But I didn't have no time. I went in Craig, no school. I come here, no school. What are you gonna find in school? By the time I didn't have no time to do it.
I think the hard work and the visionary thinking did fuel a lot of these immigrants to come here. Like my father did, $6 in his pockets, or with very, very little, and actually become quite successful. And I think you've seen that actually in a lot of Greek immigrants and their families,
Mm-hmm.
generations afterwards. They've left an incredible legacy for the first generation and the kids after them, to work hard and to instill that in their children, even though our children will have a lot more privilege because of the shoulders we stand on.
Absolutely.
So definitely the visionary aspects and the hard work of the immigrants is extremely notable here.
I love it that on the English pound, the actual coin, around the corner of the coin, it says "standing on the shoulders of giants."
Mm-hmm.
And I love that you brought that up, because really you had the type of childhood and the type of young adulthood that you had. You have the ability not to start from square one, to start from all the hard work that they've done and
Right.
stand on his shoulders and your mother's shoulders.
That's right.
And so with that idea in mind, my favorite question of the show I leave for last. It's the advice that you would give as a family to a young aspiring investor.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that there's a lot of themes that they could pull from this conversation, but what advice would you give to someone that's buying their first property?
Little by little, and you started. You're not gonna be, you think high. Little by little.
Yes.
And save, step by step, solid, and then you move up. And after you move, you come up, and then you move, you part, so you have something like extra tire. Stay this for this.
Yes.
And then you move on, playing games. But still this thing, if the games that don't come through, they help you to get out of there.
I love that. And so
If you not do it like that, and you're gonna mess it up, and you're gonna lose it.
Yes.
That's what they have. Bankruptcies, they have everything, every day,
Yes.
and then that's what the same thing. Even family, teamwork.
yes.
You have to talk about what we have to do. Sometimes you not say this, but you say something, it better my idea, and I have to put it together. And I said, wait a minute, my idea is not to bribe.
Yeah.
Let's take this bribe. They support each other.
Of course, support each other. And I
Sure.
think what happens when you talk about those two subjects, one, doing things in a slow and methodical, one foot in front of the other,
Yeah.
slow, methodical way, but then also doing it together. And Carly, our producer, and my entire team, we know that together we all achieve more. As a team.
You have more power.
Absolutely.
More power.
So, what you want to do is just focus on the fact that you can get to a certain point by yourself, but if you involve the advice and the help of others, it can elevate your career. And so as we close the show out, one thing that I love to say is that we'll see you around the neighborhood. Mm-hmm. Now, how do you say that in Greek? How does that translate in Greek? We'll see you around the neighborhood. Can you say that?
Είναι γειτονιά να πούμε. Θα σε δω στη γειτονιά. I mean, I see you in the neighborhood.
Yes.
You know, this means.
Yeah. I'll definitely say that working sustainably is the key to the immigrants building their empires. Mm-hmm. Most of them are not extravagant, and they don't need to be. There's a sort of support within the community that feeds them and enriches them in a way where some of the extravagance that you see in other lifestyles isn't quite as desirable.
Yeah, that's amazing, and I think that is in the fabric of your culture. Absolutely. And especially the folks that chose to leave, and they say, you know what, this is the land of abundance, but we also realize we need to save because we understood what it took for us to just get here. And so I think that's a perfect way to close out the show, and just to say that there's so much sustainability within the immigrant communities, and especially the Greek community here in Denver. And so with that, thank you so much for watching our show. And as I love to say, I will see you around the neighborhood. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.